Okay, we are on. We are live. It's Wednesday, May 27th, and John Butler and Llewellyn King supposedly are stuck in traffic or bad coverage. They're rushing to a better place to fix that. So we're going to get going here with our guest. And maybe if Johnny joins, we'll let him play some music when he joins. But I'm delighted to have Emily Gupton, a friend and Austin superstar, join us. And we are, just delighted to, be in the midst of what's happening. There's a lot going on in the world, and boy, where do I begin? I mean, the whole AI thing, it seems to be crazy. The stock market, the shares, what's happening, the SpaceX IPO coming. I don't know if you all saw an interview last night in CNBC with Jeff Bezos. I thought it was a terrific interview. And one of the things that strikes me about the different views about AI and what's happening, and maybe our guest can give us some light into it. A lot of people are afraid that AI is going to destroy the workforce, eliminate jobs, really decimate humans, throw everybody on the corner, and actually, uh, it so happens that um, Jeff Bezos has a totally different story to tell in a different belief. He says, and interestingly enough, technology has really been always a way to move forward on when you think about we went from horses and buggies to cars and the industrial revolution with the steam engine and all those things and the automation of crops, the invention of the tractor, which is really the birth of Lamborghini, right? Lamborghini was a tractor company first and then became a car company after that. But the tractor really transformed agriculture and things. So he goes, "You guys are all panicking for the wrong reasons. AI is not going to get rid of any developers. All these conversations are exaggerations. The opposite. If you're digging a hole and you use a shovel, wouldn't it be great if you could get a bobcat to open that hole quickly?" And that's what AI is going to do. AI is going to help the CIO, the head of networks, the head of development, the head of cybersecurity to do their job better, faster, more incredible. It's going to help everybody, accelerate their productivity, accelerate the way they could bring ideas to market, instead of taking 18 months or 6 months or 10 months, it's going to take hours,
Yeah.
you know. And so I thought that was a very, very interesting perspective, and I actually happen to agree with it. So let me introduce you all to Emily Gupton, who is the CTO of SKG, and actually she's been gaining more and more responsibilities lately. So maybe Emily, you can tell us the latest. I don't know if your title has changed or what have you, but then let's jump into what do you think about the comments from Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for having me. I think I was on a year ago. Time doesn't make sense anymore, so I'm glad to be back. I do manage all of our technology here at SKG, but my role has expanded. As Andres mentioned, I now run all of our operations and our architectural division. And our company is a commercial furniture and interiors dealership. We serve most of the state of Texas. And prior to being in this role, my CEO and I built a B2B SaaS platform that serves architecture, design, real estate, and furniture dealerships across the country. So went from building tech to helping our team, internal service providers, use technology to do work better and more efficiently. So I'm super excited to be here. As another anecdote, kind of related to what we're about to talk to with workforce, I am president of Austin Women in Technology, and I also serve on the board of Workforce Solutions Capital Area, which does a lot around workforce development here in the Austin community. So I'm very passionate about that.
Mhm.
And then I serve on the board for Truist Bank. So got a lot happening in my world. I can't say no to anything apparently, but I'm really jazzed to be here. And I tend to hopefully agree with you. I lean more optimistic in that we're going to see, I think, job transition, things moving people into different roles. And I think about AI and like our organization and things that we've implemented, the hours that
Mhm.
we've saved with some of the like non-sexy, low-hanging fruit tools that we've deployed that have saved our team hours of work that let them produce more of the work that drives our business forward. So I am one of the hopeful optimists in that I think this is going to propel our society forward. We're all
Mhm.
in that boat together,
Mhm.
and really amplify, the creative thinking and problem solving and how can we build tools and exciting things to make our society even better. So I'm definitely in that camp.
Mhm. So give
And
us,
yeah.
so give us, give us a glimpse into that. Pick one tool or one process that has already been upgraded, improved, and tell us a little bit about, dive into that a little.
Sure. So, our team, we as a company we work with probably 350 or 400 manufacturers that can then serve our clients.
Mm-hmm.
So it is an enormous amount of organizations that send us a lot of data, and it comes in a variety of ways, and none of it is standardized, and it's often in PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
And so our team was manually translating a lot of that data to put it into our procurement system,
Mm-hmm.
hours of time, and then also in bids and other ways. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have a tool that they can drop for like one project 40 PDFs into one little bucket, and it processes all of them and extracts all, like it matches to all of our vendor coding, it like matches all of the data, and it eliminates so much time for them. It is
Wow.
insane. I mean, it's for some people it's like 40 hours a month. I mean, it is just bonkers.
Right.
And that is very top of mind for me because we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about that tool today. We implemented that about 6 months ago, and it has
Mm-hmm.
just been revolutionary for part of our sales arm.
Right.
And it sounds like not cool, but it is
And
so impactful.
and can we get maybe a glimpse on how did that tool get created? Did somebody code it in Python or somebody actually asked ChatGPT to code it?
So in this instance, we actually have a partner who developed this tool for
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was one of the buy it instead of build it or
Mm-hmm.
skill to
Mm-hmm.
make it. So there are some other tools now that are emerging on the market that do the same thing. So I think they were one of the first pioneers of this for our industry. So this
Mm-hmm.
is a very industry specific build
Sure.
because our industry is like niche and weird. But we've had other instances where our team has gone into some of our paid LLM accounts and dropped things in to compare, make sure I didn't miss anything. And that's been really helpful because it in our organization we have two really data centric people, or we have one developer and
Mm-hmm.
one person that's really in the weeds in data. Now that I'm on the service provider side, our team is not, they're not development staff level. So we have to either outsource or lean on our like lean internal resource team to make things. So we're kind of a buy it
Mm-hmm.
team right now.
So I know that I know for a fact, don't know about the others, but Claude, Anthropic's product, released a set of tools for small business, for workflow, for,
Mm-hmm.
like finance, integrating with the payment systems and all that. Have you guys looked at that or
It's funny
what?
that you ask.
Uh-huh.
It's like you're living on my shoulder and asking me all the right questions. We are deploying Claude Enterprise as we speak and taking it in baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, really letting our team kind of dive in and our data and kind of workflow team use
Mm-hmm.
it to connect some of our tools together to mine some data and look at some processes that way. And then our development staff uses Claude Code.
Mm-hmm.
pretty significantly. But, I think in terms of the future state and other things that we're looking at,
Mhm.
we have a couple
Mhm.
tools in our design teams bucket that really leans into AI to make imagery look more realistic for our clients or automations. Again, for us, it's a lot of like data management and data retooling. So it's taking some of our visual data and mapping it automatically into these massive presentations for clients. That was a manual process before, that can now be automated within our design
Mhm.
tools. And so some of it are things that are just being adopted and connected into the technology tools that we're already using to power our business. And then
Mhm.
some of it is things that we're coming into the side and like bolting on in different ways. Um,
Right. And I would imagine that at some point, or maybe now already, as a business, you're tracking a bunch of KPIs, right? You inventory turns, this and that, DSOs, days of, outstanding debt, what have you, your productivity of the salespeople, what have you,
Mhm.
whatever, right? And do you see this journey with AI actually making it easier to track those KPIs and having a portal and the CEO and the CIO and the CFO getting this data more readily, easily, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think absolutely. We are actually working to consolidate and API connect all of our data sources into one centralized source of
Hmm.
truth
Hmm.
to build the dashboards and the information that you're describing. It is to be seen on some of the outcomes of that. I think one of the biggest things that I'm such a risk adverse person.
Hmm.
I constantly think about the validation of the information for our team and making sure that we've got proper guardrails in place to ensure that what they're seeing is accurate and correct.
Hmm.
I think about the enormous.
Are you there? Is it me? Hello, Emily. Are you okay? Or is it me? Hmm. Well, I thought if I'm recording and you can hear me, um yeah, she froze. She's frozen. I don't know what happened to her. It's a shame. She just hang up. She'll come back. Oh boy, she was in the middle of. So anyway, I was gonna share with everybody and talking to her that I'm really blown away by what's going on with the competition, but really Claude in particular, Anthropic's product. It's truly leaps and bounds ahead of everything. There is small business tools which requires an enterprise license. The enterprise license per user per month is $25. Um, has tool connectors. So far, it only talks to small business things like QuickBooks and PayPal and Stripe and HubSpot and Canva and DocuSign and Google and Microsoft stuff. There she is, and then a bunch of pre-built workflows and it's really fascinating what's going on. Emily, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear
You
me?
you had a little internet challenge blip or something.
Our internet literally went entirely down. So that was a thing.
So as you were saying, because we immediately when that happened, we lost track of you. So if you can pick up where you left off and keep going with that answer.
Uh sure. So remind me what I was talking about because I was
Well,
so
we were doing
distracting.
the KPIs and the
Oh yes.
deployment of the KPIs. And really, I was going to ask you on a second follow-up that, Anthropic Claude has all this amazing tools, connectors, they're talking about, really improving your payroll planning, your cash flow management. I mean, they're, diving deep into all this. And I'm curious, are you using a consulting company to help you with this, or a developer integration team to help you with this on the outside? Or is Claude itself offering that service?
We are not currently using Claude as a service to support us here. Our team uses Claude. Um,
Hmm.
so internally, we have light developer staff that are helping with
Hmm.
implementation and integration of some of these items. And as needed, we'll consult with folks externally to make sure when we dive into areas that our team is not familiar or equipped to
Right,
manage or consult, we will definitely bring in some third party
right.
folks to do that. But
Got it.
I'm excited for the finance piece. We that will probably for us be like a late 2026 delving into more of the finance workflows, just because of how our infrastructure is set up from the finance and procurement side. It's quite
Yeah,
complex.
yeah. And Emily, your company is how big? It's it just Austin, Greater Austin, Texas? Is it multiple states? Is it nationwide? What?
Yeah, so for SKG, we serve most of the state of Texas. So we have four locations, two in Austin, we're building one in Houston, and then we have San Antonio, and we can service all of Texas except for Dallas, just
Mm,
from a territory management with our major furniture alignment, which is with Allsteel, and the H&I brands. So we've grown tremendously this year. We actually did an acquisition and expansion into the Houston market, which is huge for us. So we've had a lot on our plate with that, and getting our team stood up and our infrastructure prepared to do that
mm.
expansion. So
So
we
your company does not make the furniture.
correct.
You resell other people's furnitures.
Yes. And so our team can assist with like the space planning and design. So we'll work often with like clients or architects, and figure out what of our giant product bucket and all of our
Mm.
manufacturers fits the customer's needs. So we'll do design work, lay in the product. We'll actually do the procurement on behalf of the customer, and then do everything from like installation, project management, punch, make sure everything is in the space. And that's furniture, walls, architectural solutions.
So
Um,
and you are a B2B company, no
yes,
consumers.
consumers could technically buy from us, but that's not our primary target.
Got
Commercial
it.
furniture is
Got it.
very
Got
different
it.
than retail. Yeah.
Right. Now again, if I think about the story of you guys, you're highly automated, formerly the CTO, now CTO plus. Um, which is, I don't know if it's common for a company in your space or your size to be so into technology. Maybe it is, but do you see I mean, how fast are you guys growing? Are you doubling? Are you tripling? Or is it 10%, 20%? Or
I would say probably, I mean, I would estimate 20%, probably in the next 12 months.
okay.
Um, and that is obviously dependent on like our, market penetration and stuff, but it may even be a little bit more than that. And then, anticipate further growth, and who knows what the next 5 years are going to look like. But yeah, we're anticipating a lot of movement for us and very excited for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you think about what you guys do, or what keeps you up at night, what is it? What are the challenges? Is it hiring more people? Is it training people? Is it training the entire company? It seems like everything is changing, right? The tools, the environment, what you sell, what customers want. Is the workforce issue the biggest issue in a company like yours, or what is it?
I think part of it is the complexity of the training people on the complexity of our project lifecycle and project process. If
Mm-hmm.
you think about a commercial real estate transaction for an end user, that's like an enormous, and I'm sure, Andres, that you've been in that situation
Mm-hmm.
for various businesses. Like it's an enormous undertaking. And so for our team, we're in the back end, like making sure all these pieces come together, and all of the information that we get is just enormous from manufacturers, from contractors, from clients, from all these sources. And so
Mm-hmm.
part of it is how do we, and this is what we're working on now, streamline and like automate and use different tools to make that burden less so our team can like really strategically process and work with our clients and not be so much in the minutia. So I think that's our big focus right now is how do we go faster in those areas and reduce a lot of redundant work and data management across systems to help our team do their actual job with their client better.
Right. So if I can summarize that in many ways, right? Um, so the end goal or the end outcome here of, Uber automation, if I can use that word, no pun intended for the company that has it. Um, um, that as you automate and make leverage AI to basically remove all the friction, remove all the uncertainty on how to manage data, how to interact with data, how to respond to things, proposals, all if that all could be automated with robots or agents, right? Then the people get freed up to really do the harder part, which is talking to the customer, servicing the customer, smoothing whatever is going on in projects. And that's where you think the retraining is going to happen.
Yes, gosh, I hope so because we're at the end of the day, the agent's not going to like go deliver your physical good into your space. Maybe a
Right.
robot will one day, but like there's still a whole aspect. I mean, it's overwhelming for our customers, so our sales team can focus more on like understanding the client's needs in the space and really making sure we're solving well. Our installation team can worry about like, let me get the furniture physically in the space and not worry about what I need to do in my technology tool. Like that
Mhm.
is definitely the ultimate goal. And to, set up a system that is safe and secure and gives our team the information it needs because again they're not developers now. Hopefully we'll get to a day that like they can talk to the agent and we can do that in some of our systems right now and ask questions and get information. um but that's going to be a really cool place when we're hopefully there that that's more of how we're functioning. And part of that, so for our team it's how do we reduce those steps. When I think about us and myself strategically and like thinking from the technology lens, it's like how quickly can I get there without overwhelming my team of all of the change that needs to take place and how to use the systems and how they talk to each other. And that is the large task at hand for our technology and data team to set that up.
Mhm. Now, do you guys have a tool or how do you develop a tool? There are several companies that are, sort of trying to automate the construction space. Like you would come in and, the drawings where things are going to be laid out, the electrical, the this, the that, the furniture, the carpet. And do you have a tool that does all that automatically or?
So there are some tools in our toolkit that do that. And they work great from an ideation standpoint. Where that becomes more challenging for our team is then they have to go from the 350 manufacturers that we can utilize and like plug the literal client selections into the thing that the client's going to actually want,
Right.
and display that to them. So the tools that are available today do help with that front end ideation and like layout and having those initial conversations. But there is still the work of our design team and our sales team to pick from the large closet of items and actually put them into the plan. Uh,
Hmm. Hmm.
so some
And
automation.
yeah, so there, there's a bunch of companies trying to really, Procore and many others
Mhm.
trying to automate, how do you actually build things and track the project and where things go. And when you guys come into a space, right, I imagine that you are either going into a green space or you're tearing down
Mhm.
an old space and then taking over and reconfiguring the whole thing, right?
All of that and everything in between. Yep.
Right, right. And so do you think that all that can be automated with AI eventually? That today I'm sure there is a big element of the designer coming in or the architect coming in or the project manager coming in and no, that goes here. No, you got it wrong. That goes over here.
Oh man, I feel like people are on two very different sides of the coin on this.
Mhm.
we're building our space in Houston right now, and
Mhm.
when I look at our clients' interactions with this, like the space
Mhm.
becomes a representation of them and their company culture and what they want to exude for their business. And I don't know that AI is going to get us 100% there where it will
Mhm.
understand the vision of the customer in that way. And maybe someone's going to prove me wrong one day, but there's such a finesse to like this wallpaper, this crazy wallpaper that you can see here is like
Uh-huh.
shiny velour
Uh-huh.
and soft, and it is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there's like 800 wallpapers that look like aqua blue and dark blue, but it's like I don't know. I don't know how to it's the human in the loop aesthetic of designing a space that I
Sure.
just, I don't know if we're gonna get there
And some
100%.
people, I have several colleagues, for faculties in other universities that are into the design, and within the design, they're into the colors.
Uh-huh.
And they talk a lot about colors have an influence on, like what colors to use for the walls or the carpets or the ceilings, and that those colors matter on your productivity. And there's all this stuff, this
Yeah.
scientific stuff about that.
It's true. It's true. Or it's your culture and your aesthetic, right? Like,
Hmm.
a lot of law firms have deep woods and cherry wood, and it's like very beautiful, and that's ebbed and flowed over the years. But
Hmm.
it's also representing either the business leadership or the owner or what they want that company to like, that experiential piece. So I think it could tell me potentially where to stick my stations, but I don't know if it's ever gonna, I don't know, be able to nail the vision of what you have for that look, feel, and how the client feels in the space. I think you need
Right,
to in the loop
right.
there.
Are you, I'm curious, are you guys using drones in any way, shape, or form
For like inside of our space.
for anything? Yeah.
So we've talked about doing some like drone recordings of like flyovers of spaces, but part of the issue, and I'm sure somebody solved for this by now, is the ceilings being low and
Right.
the furniture being tall and not, and it doesn't turn out as well as you'd like it to sometimes. You got tall
Okay.
ceilings all day long. When your ceilings are short,
Mm-hmm.
not as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that the sky is going to be the limit on how drones, AI, whatever, robot, I look at how many the robots are kind of coming. I wonder if you guys do you think that when the humanoids from Tesla are ready to go, that Emily is going to call Elon and is going to say, "Hey, we need 10 of those things to test them for you, and
Maybe,
maybe they can lay carpet and maybe they can do something." What do you
maybe
think
they can
about that?
scoot chairs around. I don't know. That would be incredible though, because it is, believe it or not, it is hard to put together some of this stuff. These
Right.
workstations, and it's really technical. That's funny. Um, I had a
Yeah.
robot. I was at a conference the other day, and it just kept trying to deliver me snacks, and I kept taking a snack, and then it would come back and try to give me more snacks. Thinking about the robots. Somebody took a professional picture of me taking the snack off the cart. I was like, oh Lord, this is going to end up on the news somewhere, and I'm not jazzed about that, but that's fine.
Right. Right. No, I think that I mean Elon says that there will be 30 billion humanoids in by 2050. And so basically two humanoids or three humanoids for every human being. I don't see it. I maybe he sees something that I don't know, but I mean, or maybe the humanoids are going to be really cheap. But I can see a lot of people, using humanoids for all kinds of things, especially repetitive construction type work or anything that is can be, reasonably automated, right? Where you're, laying down things or connecting things, especially the things are heavy.
Yeah,
The humanoids can play a better role for that.
we install, so architectural walls, like the glass walls and things like that, are just,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I started to think about that as you were talking, are enormously heavy. And,
Hmm.
it's, if you're in a 30-story building, they're not just going to magically appear on the 30th floor. You've got to get them up, and then you
Right.
got to take them out, and you got to stick them in. There's like a wall right in front of me. You got to stick them into the wall. And
Hmm.
our team has to be very strong to pick those up and put them into place.
Hmm.
And I mean, I'm thinking that could be a really interesting application to just save them from, and then they're responsible for like making sure everything's aligned and their energy levels are better. Like that would be so cool if we had glass
Yeah.
installation robots.
And,
That would
and
be great.
obviously, I think maybe before humanoids, or maybe at the same time, I don't know. There's a bunch of companies working on, enhanced skeleton type structure that wraps around your body. Like
The
I
support.
think of Alien, right? Sigourney Weaver getting in the machine, fighting with the alien, right, kind of thing.
Yes.
Those things are coming, and they're obviously they've been around forever, but they're expensive. They're coming in an affordable rate, and they're gonna hopefully obviously help handicapped people, paraplegics, things like that, but also again, if you are trying to move that stuff that is heavy or climb things or being temperature uh prohibiting spaces where you
Yeah.
could freeze or burn or whatever, things like that, I think that that's all coming. So how do you stay ahead of the curve, Emily? Do you go to many shows? Do you sit on your chair all day long? Do you just look at TikTok and Instagram? How do you keep up?
Not TikTok and Instagram. I actually don't have a TikTok account despite living in the tech land so heavily. I try, like I mentioned earlier, very engaged in the community. We talked about the Tech Hall of Fame. I was so devastated not to be there this week because we had our open house though, which was great. It was amazing. We had a lot of great representation here. But anyway, I am just super connected to the community. So I serve as president of Austin Women in Technology, which
Hmm.
connects us to a lot of other organizations. I think living in Austin and being as engaged in the tech space as I am, I still have days where I'm like, I cannot keep up with the amount of things that are changing. It seems like every second of every day. And I don't know if you have a magical solution, I'm happy to hear it. But I really try to read like consolidated roll-ups of like what are the things that occurred in the last day or the last week that come into my email feed and
Hmm.
just talk to people and learn about what they're doing and what tools are out there and then really try to pick a focus and a moment in time of something that we need to change and adapt because if I thought about all of the things I would never get anything done.
Hmm.
So I think some of it is staying like laser focused on what we need to correct for our team and then look at what's coming and figure out how to like roll that into a strategic plan, but man, it is lightning fast and it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, I use time boxing. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with it. That's how I kind of do. A lot of people say, "How do you multitask?" It seems like you have 1,000 things going on at the same time and don't keep track of it. So I do time boxing, and I really over the years I've learned to discern between what's some there are some people that famously have talked about this many times. Steve Jobs is one of the ones that he gave a speech at Stanford before he died, and he talked about this. The difference between noise and signals, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of distraction in the day. This is one of the reasons why I think telecommuting has had a significant impact on productivity in many ways, even though people are afraid of the fact that, lazy people by themselves would not work and procrastinate and go play video games than doing the job. But when you're in the office while, talking to everybody, it's important. If you just talk to everybody all day long, you don't do anything, right? So,
Yeah.
so, and some people do that too, right? So I think that the notion of just staying focused, and then somebody used the Pomodoro's technique for time management, right? Which is the 25 working minutes and then 5 minute break, 25
Yeah.
minute working minutes, 5 minute break. So again, everybody has to find their own formula, but I think it's staying focused on the right things and managing time wisely is the key, right? And then more importantly, perhaps managing expectations, which are, I think, is the second thing that most people don't do really well. and they forget to, tell the customer, that's not going to be there in 30 days from now, and they wait till the last day to say that instead of when
No,
they
tell them
find
right
out about it.
away. Tell them
Exactly.
now.
Exactly.
People just want to know.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
man, if I've learned anything, it's that. Tell someone as soon as you know something's not coming on time because it's going to be
Yes.
so much better than if you wait.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I'm here with you on the time blocking. I am an extremely structured human being in my schedule, which
Hmm.
probably doesn't surprise you. And it took me a while to get in the rhythm with as much as I have going on, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, my calendar is a rainbow of colors that are different things because it's task switching too. Like it's enormous
Yes.
amount of
Yes.
task switching and
That's right. And you when you think about it, the hardest thing about it, right, is the notion that you have multiple bosses, the customer being the ultimate boss, right? But you have the CEO, the CFO, or the head of the project, or the head of this, or the head of that, or the right partner, and this partner. And so you have to like, you know, maintaining sort of the flow of that and the priority of that, and who if you got three phone calls at the same time, and super busy people have this challenge all day long, right? They have
yep,
their triple book, quadruple book, and they need to choose who are they going to talk to, who are they not going to talk to, and it's not easy. It's not easy to do choose the right thing every day, and sometimes you can blow it.
yep, yes, it's the
So,
struggle is
so,
real.
so, so, Emily, fast forward 6 months from now. Um, what do you see in terms of realized outcomes of what's in front of you that you guys are executing now or putting to play now that 6 months from now or 12 months from now is going to be happening? Give me that glimpse of, man, we're killing it on this, we're killing it on that. This is getting super better. What does that look like 6 months, 12 months from now?
Yeah, I think a few things. Responsive time to our clients is decreased
Hmm.
because we have different tools and processes available to produce output depending on where the customer is in their process. We have significantly reduced the amount of time to respond to our customers in different aspects.
Hmm.
I also envision by that time that we will have um, a lot of consolidated information for our leadership and executive team to really
Hmm.
have some broad consolidated oversight into the business. We have that now, but I see that as a much more like magical and data backed, very easy to navigate system
Hmm.
that will, support our growth and expansion, leveraging technology and like putting all of our information together. So I'm really excited for that.
Hey, Llewellyn.
Hello,
How
I'm
are
good.
you? I haven't really realized you were here.
Oh yeah, I came in at 20 past. I'm so sorry. I didn't allow for the traffic in New York, and I'm now in the train station, so you can hear the announcement.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here. Let,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I'll just
Well,
keep going.
I've been here.
Very
I've been
nice
here
to
for.
see you. Tell me, do you hold inventory or is it just in time process?
I think I heard the question. We do not hold inventory. It is all either made or ordered to order.
Okay, and how do you see uh, work from home, remote work affecting your business long term? It must have some impact. We know in New York, here in New York, they're converting office buildings into apartments. This is happening in Boston. I don't know about Texas. I was down there last week, and where I was in Dallas, it seemed very, very busy. It
Yeah,
didn't look like anybody was converting anything into anything. But that doesn't go on forever. I've lived in other boom communities and things
sure.
go up and they go down. Uh, what do you see as the long term? Are we going to go back to working in offices or are we going to be remote like this broadcast?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a mixed bag. I think that the industry and the industry that's built around you in the city also will influence that. You know, we've had a big explosion of aeronautical stuff happening here, robotics, a lot of, you know, semiconductor and materials plants and things like that. So I think some of it will just shift as the products and the things that we're producing with AI capabilities change. You know, I think there is a segment of, you know, what people are doing where some jobs will become remote, and we've already seen that, but then we've seen people come back. I think it's just going to be a mix. And I think it's going to depend on what the business functions are. You know, I don't know, Andres, I know we talked about like humanoid robots doing things, like if that, you know, becomes more of our workforce, but you still got to have people there to service and oversee. So
I'd like to comment on the subject of robots. Elon Musk may know how to do this, but we don't even know how to get enough houses for people. Robots are going to be very expensive machines. And whereas there are a lot of low-level jobs that could be much better handled by robots, they will probably be handled by people because replacing people might be too expensive. You can imagine it in, say, a fast food operation where company-wide you can introduce a robot, but in a mom-and-pop place on the corner, unlikely. Likewise, if you have a B&B, you're not going to have a robot making the beds. If you have a 600-room hotel, you are likely to have a robot making the beds.
Sure.
So, you know, we are going to see them infiltrate our lives, but not as wholeheartedly as Elon Musk has said. And it's going to be a stop and start process. Some things are going to go wrong. I grew up in a time when the DC-3 was the premier airplane. It was the basis of all air transportation. And they had crashes. Some places they talked about them as the flying coffin. They're actually among the safest airplanes ever built. But there are stops and starts in the arrival of technology, and we're going to see stops and starts there. What we're going to see, which is good for you, Emily, is people will still need a place to sit and work, even if they're sitting and working at home some of the time.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you, I sit in crowded places and try to do webinars, very foolish. I would like to ask you whether the design of offices is reflecting the new work.
Well, can you hear me, Andreas?
Yes, we can hear you, Johnny. Hold on, Johnny.
Andreas, am I on?
Go ahead, Emily.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if you finished. Did you finish your question?
Llewellyn, did you finish the question?
I thought John was
Can you hear me?
You know, I would never.
We can hear you, Johnny. Llewellyn is asking a question to
I
Emily
don't think I can hear you.
Northeast Regional and move to Washington.
Llewellyn, go ahead.
Okay. In the new office world, in my time, offices have changed because of technology. When we had typewriters, we tended to separate people because typewriters were quite noisy. Like a newspaper newsroom was a very noisy place because of the typing. Now they're silent. People can sit closer together. That changes the way the office is laid out. The other thing is people are now more sensitive to the impact that design and color have than they probably were in my day when you stuck the desks in and let people go at it. Winston Churchill said, we shape buildings and they shape life. That's also true of interior decorating.
Making intermediate stops in between. You may now proceed to track number 14.
You want to get a train to Boston, you're in the right place. You want to do a webinar on digital, we're in the wrong place. Emily, how is internal design influenced by technology?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, I think accommodating the spaces to like help people work remotely, like we're having this conversation now, I'm in an office, but if I weren't in my own office, I'd be in a pod that is on the floor where my team outside of outside of our phone booth collaborates. So I think as work adapts, as people adapt, as the technology that is available to us changes, we design products or buy products and build spaces to suit that. I think about our team having to have meetings because we're hybrid sometimes. Like we've got some workers in we've got offices and we've got four offices. So we've got to interface across that, right? And so we have different spaces available to let those people talk to each other and feel hopefully included and part of the conversation, and how the technology is used in like a seamless way to create that like feeling and space and ecosystem. So I think that
Is there any part? Sorry, I'm not hearing you very clearly, so excuse me. Is there any particular area in Texas that you're particularly concentrated on? Is it Dallas or Houston or
so
or
we're everywhere but Dallas essentially. So we've got offices in Austin, San Antonio, and Houston.
Okay, well that's interesting. If I were the owner of a large office, whatever, a printing
Yeah.
office, publishing office, whatever, um, what would be your elevator pitch to me? Why should I hire your company to build out my office?
Yeah, we make spaces that make people excited to come to work and collaborate and do business. Whether you're a corporate office, we help higher education, colleges and clients, healthcare, hospitals. So we make people excited to be in those spaces to do their best work and to serve their clients in the best way.
I'm very interested in what you just said. You said hospitals.
Yeah,
Generally, hospitals are not pretty places, and doctors' offices are horrible. They have charts on the wall of your insides. I don't want to see the chart of my inside. I want to see a chart of somebody else's outside, a nice looking person's outside. Your outside, possibly, Emily. I'm not so sure about Andre, but uh, I'd rather see his outside than his inside.
sure. Yeah. I mean, but there are some very beautiful, like, I think where we've come though is the experiential feel. And we talked about this a little bit earlier in terms of space design. A lot of, we were talking about AI and is it going to take over like interior space design? But, for us, when we interface with our clients and even doing our own internal projects, it's about how people feel when they come into the space. How can they be productive? How can patients feel comfortable and cared for? Because being in a hospital, being in a doctor's office is often a stressful situation. And so, how do we set the space up to flow well and to help people feel good about being there, even though they might not feel good about being there?
Yeah.
So, that's part of what we really try to do for our clients.
I'm wondering if John Butler has a question, even
Yeah.
though he's driving, he shouldn't be asking any questions.
Well, I had a question about the robotic stuff. I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I think that I was looking at some stuff at West Texas. I sent it out to Lou Allen, and sent it to Andreas, and I just parked, by the way, so that Andreas can feel safer. And I think that and it was about dump trucks, big 18-wheeler dump trucks, with no drivers, really taking care of the business. And you mentioned the robotic stuff. Do you think there would be a reaction against the robotic stuff in terms of efficiency, not in terms of what we call the bottom line, because there's a difference? Uh, do you think that we have invested too much in robotic to the expenses of workers themselves? That's all I'm asking.
Ooh. Andres, do you have a opinion on that one?
No, go ahead, Emily. I mean, what would be your sense, being the head of technology of a company? What is the benefit that you want to get out of the robots? Safety. They work 24 hours. You don't have to feed them. No worksman comp. They can get hurt in the job. I mean, there's
Sure.
been a lot of benefits, right?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we've got a variety of staff, everything from, folks who spend more time at a computer and in the office and people that are in the field. So, definitely safety and fatigue. And like we talked about, a robot to lift up big panels of glass would be so great.
Mm-hmm.
And to move materials about in the space, to let those people make sure things are getting executed correctly to plan. I mean, that would be great. I think that
We lost your sound for some reason. Yeah.
you see me.
Yeah.
There we go. You're back.
You're back.
Am I
You're
back
back.
now?
Yeah.
Good grief. My internet is like, I don't know what's happening. I think that there are definitely applications for our team in the field for sure from a robotic standpoint to help with fatigue, help with tiredness, like installing 24 hours a day. Super interesting to think about. Very
Mm-hmm.
complex installations that we're doing. And I think for us, if I think about that in practicality,
Mm-hmm.
every installation is different. And every
Sure.
installation is like very different in terms of the space layout, the spaces that these robots would be going. So
Mm-hmm.
in theory, it would be super cool to have them take some of that exhaustive load off of our team. But, it's not like we're a supply chain machine building cars that has the same.
Right.
Well, let me give you an example real fast. There's a major insurance company that we all know, and we won't say who it is. But basically, they want to go from, say, there's a city with 50 insurance agents to a city of just one insurance agent, and there will be one person that would manage all of the AI. Let's call them robots, what they are, the AI robots to do the business. And so you go from having 50 insurance agents to AI agents doing the business, and just one person to overlook all of that.
Sure.
You said sure, right?
I mean, definitely a possibility. What are we moving those other people to do, and how do you mitigate that impact for those employees if they're transitioning? I think that there are areas where that's already happening, which I'm sure you guys would probably agree, for sure.
Well, my follow-up question is, who's to blame? Who's to blame when the truck hits something? Who's to blame when the insurance doesn't come through? Who's to blame? What do we do with the lawyers? So
yeah,
that's why I find it intriguing. I just find it very
complex
intriguing.
Questions that I feel like are often surfaced, and I don't know that we have a great answer for that right now. Depending on the application, it's like the trolley car problem, where you like divert and kill one person, or you like go forward and kill four or something. So
remember this, when we lost the Egyptian airline, one question was asked: is technology getting too complicated? When we lost the 737 in Egypt, when the airplane failed, when Boeing, and the question is, can these things get too complex and too complicated? So therefore, when they mess up, customer satisfaction goes by the wayside. As a matter of fact, there's a commercial now on television. I think it's Chase, and they are talking about the fact that they show a guy that's getting cream or sugar and coffee from a robot, and then all of a sudden you walk into that commercial, and you talk to a human being. Do you see that kind of? I see that floating around already, because remember this: a lot of the AI has been forced on people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I mean, wow, I feel like I could have a whole conversation about what I think about when I think about autonomous vehicles and planes and hacking systems and things like that, and how protected are we as we move forward in technology that way. But I've had friends who have gone over to Europe, and they have the bartenders, like the robotic bartenders that serve them drinks at the bars. And some of their anecdotes are bartender robots are terrible and don't know how to make drinks, which I find funny, because you'd think it'd be precise and perfect. But yeah, all super relevant with how these are going to infiltrate society, and being thoughtful about that. And I think is challenging.
Yeah, well, I think the skill is we'll lose stuff. I think the kids in school will lose their creativity, because they won't want to solve a problem. I think I used to call every telephone name of all my friends. I knew their numbers. Da 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 da. I don't know their numbers anymore.
I think I know
You
like
know
three
what I
phone
mean?
numbers still, and I feel
Like,
proud of that.
yeah, well, everybody knows 911, and and
And
then
I
of
know
course,
four. I know four.
and here's the deal. I also believe that as a result of that, we're going to lose wisdom. I think we're going to lose.
I mean, I think we're seeing that. Oh, did I lose audio? Oh no.
Certain company,
You
and
know,
wisdom to me is, yeah, we also lost wisdom in the 1970s and 80s when we fired the older population. Did you know, for example, people don't understand that we sent a person to the moon, we sent a rocket to the moon. The moon came back, and 20 years later, we could not rebuild that rocket because people basically had retired.
the
So
knowledge
there,
left.
the
Well, but
knowledge left. So
the technology has changed so much, Johnny,
Sure.
that we don't
yeah,
we don't
but
want to
no,
use
no,
that rocket.
no,
It's
no.
like
This
it's like
this was
me.
five
It's like
years later. This was 5 years later. This is
I
not
know, but
30 years later.
it's like me bragging about my HP 41C that was invented in 1974. And this calculator, if you use this calculator today to go to college, you flunk. So
Yeah, but I still use. I tell you what, I use my slide rule, and I don't have to plug it in, and it would
Amazing.
never fail me. No,
that's
seriously.
right. That's
But you're
right.
exactly you're exactly right. We do not know the unintended consequences, especially with the workforce and what the
Yeah.
workforce, including reading, including writing, including analyzing, and including science. So science is
So
always about creativity and thinking about the future, independent of what you see. I mean, you
yeah.
can see a railroad. So yeah, that's all I'm saying.
So I'm looking at the time, and I would say summarizing our interesting conversation about us, small, medium-sized company in Texas growing like crazy because Texas is growing like crazy. And Emily probably being, a good corporate officer just gave us some reasonable number of growth. But if she gets to deploy and automate all the AI stuff, and knowing that she sees AI not as a eliminator of jobs, but as a shovel that gets replaced by a buckle, a bobcat to make a hole bigger and faster. I bet you Emily's company is going to grow 100%, and she's going to be highly automated and taking names and kicking butt all over the place. And so Emily, what's going to keep what's keeping you up next 90 days, 6 months? Any projects? Anything you're putting to work and deploying? Anything interesting for us to know? And maybe we'll have you back in a year.
Oh man. I mean, our data consolidation is the thing I'm probably most excited about. Would love to come back and talk about what that looks like and some of the AI tools to help our team deliver faster for customers. It'll be really interesting to see the mix of things that we actually deploy and what that outcome is. Like, I'm hoping that we're saving enormous amounts of time to produce information back to our clients. I can't
Hmm.
really give you a precise number now, but I expect that to be large and reduce like errors and back and forth. And I'm really
Sure.
excited for that 6 months from now.
Okay. So, uh, Llewellyn, unmute. Tell me your final thoughts. Unmute. Unmute.
Am I unmuted now? Can you
Yes.
hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah. Final thoughts. Go
Okay, I
ahead.
did. Well, I think Emily's in a very interesting position doing something extremely interesting. I think we could underwrite this by saying about many things to do with the future we do not know. In some ways, we're living in the most exciting time possible, and in some ways, it's very scary. Overall, I think it's exciting. I find it exciting, and I think technology is going to reshape us, but not as radically as at first thought. But I'm not sure of that. And I apologize for being late, but I got caught in the traffic in New York, and you know how that is. And I'm sorry for my studio here at the Pennsylvania Railroad Station. It is not optimum. It has not been designed by Emily and her team for this purpose. They seem to have something to do with trains.
There you go.
You're doing
There you
great.
go. John Butler, final thoughts.
Well, Emily, I might have you as a consultant. I'm getting married to an AI doll from Africa here in 2 months, and I want to make sure that the AI doll can cook and have conversations with me, and the software is right. And I'm looking for, I really don't need a minister to marry me. I think I can find an AI person to marry me. So I'm looking forward to the improvements in AI dolls. What a great time to be alive.
For sure. Amazing.
Okay.
I take it, Johnny, you're not going to play the guitar while driving.
No, you know what happened is
I'm trying to encourage you to do that, so long as I'm
no,
not involved.
but the point is, you're right. I was listening, and it was real trafficy, and he didn't bring me on. I was coming from another board meeting at my
Have you
club. So
ordered up my next fruit plate?
all you have to do is just tell me you want it, and you have it next week. That's all you have to do. Emily, as seriously, it's an exciting time to be alive. But what we don't know know the unintended.
I got to go.
We don't
I've
know
got
that.
another call I've got to do.
Okay.
It's
We
lovely to see you, Emily, and I hope to be with you for the full time next time. I must say that Andrew was doing a wonderful job questioning. He's improved out of all recognition under my tutelage.
Yeah, Emily,
Good to see you
the
again.
question is, yeah, we just don't know the unintended consequences of the workforce. And it was easy to predict with the airplane. It was easy to predict because these were not knowledge workers. So we're replacing knowledge workers now. And when you produce knowledge workers, repetitive knowledge workers, it's a little different than we're going from, trains to airplanes because so many other people are affected. But I think that in terms of business, you reduce your costs, and that's what it's all about. Congratulations. Continue doing great things in the great state of Texas and stay on the forefront of everything.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Bye.
everybody.
Thanks, Andres.
Take
Bye, y'all.
care.
I'm gonna drive again. Bye.
Bye.